Hi everyone, I hope you guys have been well. It's been a while since I did a video. Honestly speaking, after the tragic loss that, happened, I really didn't feel comfortable making competition videos. I didn't know if it was necessarily the thing for me to be doing given what was going on in figure skating. So I didn't make any videos for a while. But I was on Twitter, I was on Instagram, and I was reading all of the stories about the kids, the parents, the coaches who all lost their lives on that plane. And as I was seeing all of the stories, as I was seeing all of the memorial board that people were putting up, what I did realize is all of these kids were pursuing their passion, they were pursuing their dreams, and I've always felt like as human beings, we tend to exist more than we live. We have this limited time on earth and we tend to spend it existing and not really living. Very few of us really get to know what our passion is and truly follow that passion, to any kind of conclusive end. And I felt like all of these kids, they were doing that. They knew what their passions were and they were following it. And the parents and the coaches and the staffs who were with them, they were also trying to grow this passion um, in their own way. And I felt like that was amazing. Guys, honestly, every day I ask God to give me a purpose because even at this stage in my life, I really don't know what my purpose is. So that's something that I'm asking God for daily. What I do know is I love figure skating. I've always loved figure skating, and I really enjoy sharing figure skating with other people who love it or who might know anything about it or who might be interested about it. Whenever I do that, whenever I watch figure skating, whenever I talk about figure skating, there is a level of happiness and contentment that I feel that makes me want to share it more. So after like some really processing everything, because that's another thing I feel like we don't do. We don't give ourselves time to process what's going on. So after processing everything, I was like, okay, Full Continent is coming up. Let me watch Full Continent and see if I want to make a video. And after I finished watching Full Continent this morning, I did want to make a video, so I thought I would make this video. And I'm just going to recap it because I didn't do a prediction video. So I'm just going to recap what I saw, as always, starting with the pairs. So I felt like this was a pretty good event for pairs. I have been a champion of pairs since COVID happened. And the Russians were no longer competing, and we saw this dramatic, um, you know, loss of competitive power in pairs. But I was one of those people who was championing it, saying that it would come back, it's coming back. And I feel like we definitely saw that here. The gradual coming back of pairs. So starting with like Audrey Shen and Balaz Nagy, who were in 11th place here. I did have a lot of hope for this pair because I was a fan of Balaz and his last partner, and I was also a fan of Audrey Shin as a single skater. I thought she was a lovely single skater, and so I had a lot of hope for this pair, and I still have hope for this pair because again, they just got together, they're relatively young. However, their twists, and I thought they would have a huge twist because Balaz had a huge twist with his last partner. I thought they would have a huge twist, but unfortunately, the twist is something that they struggle in. I was expecting them to struggle with the throws, and I thought they would be pretty good on the side by side, and I thought they would be pretty good with the lifts because, um, Audrey is such a lovely skater. I thought she would have lovely air position. I was amazed by how unimpressed I was, sadly, by the twist. However, if they could fix the twist, I really do think, given time, this pair could really learn to gel. I really felt bad for Audrey because while they were sitting in the kiss and cry after the free program, she just looked really devastated. And I'm glad that, she has the coaching team that she does have. Megan Duhamel is a world champion. She's an Olympic medalist. She knows what it's like to go through the ups and downs of pairs. Um, and I feel like that's going to be very, very good for them to try to rebuild from this devastating loss. We also had in 10th place here Isabella Gemez and Alexandra Koven. I always said I think this pair has so much potential. They look so good together. But what I'm beginning to realize, and also this is just an opinion, and it's just an opinion based on watching them on the ice and then the few minutes we get to see them in the kiss and cry. They don't seem like they're enjoying skating. They don't seem like they're enjoying each other. They don't emotionally connect. And I feel like if they could work on that, if they could really enjoy each other and enjoy the skating, that would really elevate their component and their PCS scores overall. Um, we had another outing of Ekaterina Genish and Dmitry Shegarev. Again, another pair that has beautiful line. They match each other incredibly well. They have all of the basic elements, but they don't have any wow factor. There's nothing that I can point out and say that I don't like about this pair, but there's nothing that I can point out to say that I love about this pair. They do have a really good twist. They do have a really good twist. Their side by side is good. You know what? I think maybe it might be. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say their material. I feel like this is a very balletic, very light pair, and I think they need the right choreography to just bring out that aspect of their skating, whereas right now they're trying to be power skaters, which may not really suit them. Then, we had in 7th place the Japanese pair of Yuna Nagaoka and Sumiata Moriguchi. They're doing a double twist, which is perfectly understandable because that's where they are in their skating. They are so fast. I'm gonna say this right here. I love the Japanese skating technique overall, and that's across all 4 disciplines. If you watch Japanese skaters across ice dance, pairs, men and women, they have such beautiful knees, they have such beautiful edge control, and they have so much speed. This pair is probably one of the fastest pair on the ice. They carry so much speed in and out of each of their elements. I keep saying that I'm expecting this pair to be an amazing jumping pair, and it's not really translating the way I thought it would. I think their lifts are really, really good. I think their power, their speed is really, really good. I do think they need to work a lot on the throws and oddly enough, a lot on the side by side, which I thought would be where they would thrive. Another pair that has not gotten their twist together, and it's been years now, is 6th place Anastasia Goluberva and Hector Giotopoulos Moore. This is another pair that almost has everything. They have wonderful side-by-side jump, like power, ice coverage, flow, the way they hold their legs when they come out of those jumps. Their lifts are also really good, nice ice coverage, but that twist, throws, sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. But the twist, every time he flings her up into the air, she comes down and hits his shoulder. And it's been years now that I've been like, can someone please work with this pair to fix their twist? Because I feel like they're never going to be up on that upper ranking if they cannot get that twist together. Then in 5th place was Alyssa Efanova and Misha Metrofanov, and I personally thought they were underscore in their short program. I would have had them ahead of Ellie Can and Danny O'Shea at this competition. Obviously, they beat Ellie and Danny at nationals, But I feel like US figure skating is still very much behind Ellie and Danny. And I feel like that probably accounted for why Alyssa and Misha were a little suppressed here, especially with the fact that Alyssa landed the jumps. She landed the side by side jumps, and for me, that always determines where they're gonna be, is whether Alyssa gets those side by side jumps. And she did the thing here. She landed the side by side jump. They have a huge twist. They have a beautiful twist. They have wonderful throws. When she lands the throws, she has beautiful landing position. They have nice lift. Alyssa is very flexible, so she has very nice positions up in the air. They could use a little speed. They are a little slow as a pair, I will admit that. But I'm hoping as they get more comfortable with each other, the speed will come. In fourth place here, and I would have had them in fifth place, was Ellie Khan and Danny O'Shea. I say this constantly. I love this pair. Why? Because their in-between skating is beautiful. They've gotten way more consistent with the side-by-side jump. Oddly enough here, it was Danny who took a fall and not Ellie. They have gotten better at the side-by-side jumps. Their lifts to die for, just beautiful air position. They connect so well with each other. When I'm talking about like pairs who do not connect, this is not one of these pairs. They connect with each other very well. They present well on the ice. The throws are always going to be 50-50, unfortunately. Um, it is what it is. The throws are always going to be 50-50. This was not a good outing for them. There was several issues here, but I feel like that's necessary in a long competitive season. You have to have the ups and the downs. So I'm hoping they're going to recollect themselves and they're going to come back for Worlds. And that's where they're going to have that once in a lifetime performance. In third place here, Leah Pereira and Trent Machard. They are growing. I felt like when they first came out, they came out with a bang. And then they sort of had a season where they were kind of just hitting kind of a bottom. And then they had this season where they started off very, very slow. And now towards the end of the season, they're sort of like picking up, which I think is a perfect way to have your season because you want to peak at the biggest possible event. So I was really, really happy for Leah here. So they beat Diana and Maxine in the short program. And last time, I think at Nationals, they beat them in the long program. So that is pretty amazing that they've beaten their biggest competitors in the short and the long. Not in the same competition, but they have done it. I really like both of their programs. I think it's very well suited. They have a really good balance between like the chitty chitty bang bang and then the sort of like Spanish style that shows their growth and, you know, how many different styles they could project, which I think is always good to see in skaters. Again, this is another pair that I like, but I don't think there's any wow factor to them. And I think like they got good side-by-side jumps, they have good twists, they have good throws. What I think is going to differentiate this pair from other pairs is going to have to be their programs. They're going to have these charismatic programs that makes up for the fact that they don't have these wow amazing factors. And then in second place here was Diana Stiletto Dudek and Maxine Deschamps. They're coming back from illness, from injury. This has not been an easy season for Diana and Maxine. However, I love this pair. I am so emotionally invested in their journey and their story. I love both of their programs this season. I love the little Crazy in Love short program. I feel like it's growing. They're performing it more. And I absolutely adore the Way of the Water long program. I think as the season has progressed, so has this program. It was fabulous here. It was a moment here. They had a moment here and it was wonderful to see how they're growing. Of course, they're not at 100%, which makes me even more excited because now I want to see what they look like when they are at 100% and they compete these two programs at Worlds. I feel like this was two very respectable performance for them. It wasn't perfect. There were little steps out on the throws, but she fought and he fought every step of the way, and it was amazing to see. Our winners here was Rika Mura and Ryuichi Kihara. Again, they also did not have perfect outings. Well, the short program, they were steady as you can be. The long program, not so perfect. But I feel like the combined two programs made up for it. As I was saying before, how much I love that Japanese teaching technique. They cover so much ice. They are so fast. Their knees are so smooth and deep into the ice. I really like both of their programs again this season. This is a team that I'm always like, why are we giving them these dark, dreary, depressing kind of music when they're so lively, they're so outgoing? So I really do like these two programs, which are more aggressive, which are more powerful, which are more dynamic. I feel like it suits their personality so much more. Overall, for me, I was on Twitter and I do feel like some people felt like Deanna and Max should have won the free program. I could agree with that. I felt like they had a more dynamic performance, but I feel like when you look at it element by element and you look at the base value of each of the elements, I understood why the judges gave it to Rika and Ryuichi over Deanna and Max. But still, I'm really invested in like all the top 6 pairs that are going to be at Worlds, and I personally will be happy with whoever ends up at the top of the podium. I just hope everybody is clean and we get like that raw into the gutter last second 1/10 type of fight. Um Taking a moment right now, I did skip Kellyanne Lauren and Lucas Ithier. I do feel like they're having a nice trajectory um, to their career, and it's really nice to see. And they're very young. They are a very, very young pair. So I feel like there's lots of ways that they can grow, and I'm really looking forward to it. Um, if I'm going to do a pair spotlight, I'm gonna put my spotlight on Elisa and Misha. I feel like there is so much potential in this pair, especially if they could get this side by side. I love both of their program. I think that short Spanish theme program is wonderful. And the reason why I think it's wonderful is that Misha seems like he's a very introverted skater. He's very closed off on the ice, and this program is forcing him to come out of his shell and actually give us face. Guys, Misha was giving a Spanish flavor face, and I love to see that kind of growth in a pair. So for me, my spotlight for the pair is definitely going to be Alyssa Efanova and Misha Metrofanov. So that was my take on the pairs, but you guys let me know in the comment, what do you think?